Hi everybody, welcome back for another video. I want to talk about a very important topic today. Is less lethal on borrowed time? Is it going to be crushed by some legal changes that are going to really make a difference and make it very difficult for some people to practice the art of less lethal defense? Or is it gonna be fine, and is things going to work out just no matter how you might be nervous about things right now, things might still work out. I want to update you on what I'm understanding, and I don't have all the facts, but I do understand the big picture, and I know exactly what is taking place in terms of the consideration about reclassification of less lethal launchers and things that have the ability to confer lethal force or to cause lethality on someone. Those can be reconsidered and reclassified now as a firearm, and that's the idea. And so if you're someone who is restricted and you're unable to own a firearm, you would then, if this is changed, and I'm trying to avoid using key buzzwords here. I know YouTube will flag certain terms and certain statements, so I'm trying to be very careful in what I say. But if it comes down from the top here in the United States and across the board, it's enforced that a airgun or a less lethal launcher that is of a certain joules and it has a certain ability to cause lethality or severe bodily harm, if it gets reclassified as either a destructive device or a firearm, there are going to be people who are currently restricted from owning firearms who are going to be now breaking the law. And so and I don't know if that means that you're actually prohibited from owning that device, or it just means that you can own it, but you just can never use it. I know we have friends who are in other countries who are in that situation. They can build and they can play with these devices, and they can use these less lethal launchers and test them and mod them, but they can never use them. So to me, that would be the worst feeling, to know that you're putting in time and effort learning how to do something that you think could protect yourself, but you know that legally, if you use it, you will be prosecuted in your country. Well, in the United States, we never imagined that we would have such a situation that would happen here, because firearms are legal, and we have PCP air guns that are used for hunting, and those are widely available. But things change, and they may not always stay the same. So I'm just putting this out as a warning to anyone who, if you're heavily vested in air guns, and you're heavily invested in air-powered, less lethal launchers, and you spend a lot of time and a lot of money accumulating a large number of these and modifying them, and even worse, if you've now tried to build a profession where you're selling them or you're selling parts, you may find yourself, with the stroke of a pen, you may find yourself in a situation where your favorite hobby or your source of income is now illegal to you. And for some people, that would be an extreme disaster. Of course, that would be a problem. For anyone who's not got restrictions for whatever reason, either you live in a Pro 2A state, you don't have any legal concerns, and you're able to own a firearm and use a firearm, your life is not going to change much if this passes, and you'll still be able to use your less lethals, although they will be restricted to using them in a certain manner. And who knows what that would be. I mean, you might not be able to use them outside in your yard like you do now. You might not be able to do plinking fun. I don't think they're ever going to make you take a less lethal to the firing range and fire it the same as firearms. That would be ridiculous. But I don't know, and I don't agree with any new legislation. I don't agree with this idea of compressing people's rights and their abilities. But that's essentially what would happen. And I do have the concern that as modders and other people have tried to make these less lethal launchers more lethal, less lethal, and I've got several videos on that. I don't spare any words when I talk about this. It is a concern to the threat. It is a threat to the viability of the community. And I've said many times that these sharp, pointy ammo, high-powered Joule launchers, these are just leading to the demise of the community. And at that point, I meant just literally the community itself is at risk, but I never imagined that there might be legislation, not even at the level of Congress, but at the level of other regulatory agencies in terms of defining what is a firearm and what is not. And the downstream consequences of that are quite enormous for a large number of people, especially within the less lethal community. So is the less lethal community as we know it dissolving? Is it going to be essentially broken apart? All of these groups of people that are actively involved in this as hobbyists, are they going to lose their hobby because they now are not able to do this? Is it going to be enforced? Is it going to be not enforced if this happens? I don't know. So there are some videos out there. There are some congressional hearings that have been going on this week. And I'm making this video and I'm just trying to think about the topic a little bit because I really had not expected it to happen this fast, but I've been warning people now for 3 years and I've been very clear about it. And I made some videos describing where I think are the rational cutoffs and what is socially and legally acceptable for less lethal, and where I see the line for ammo and launchers and where we don't know the extreme consequences of using high power on people. And we know where firearms are, we know where pepper balls are, and then there's this big gap in between. So there's a lot that we don't know, and I think people are watching. There are people in Facebook groups, there are people on YouTube. There's a lot of stuff out there that concerns me when I see what people are doing and the fact that it's just out there in the open. And of course people take notice, and of course people see what's going on. And it is possible for regulation to literally be put on this community with the stroke of a pen. Now, there are a lot of new companies and a lot of products and a lot of activity in this area, and that could also be affected because if the consumer market dries up, if the consumer market is primarily people who are restricted from owning firearms, and those are the people that are overwhelming percentage of the people that actually are craving less lethal launchers with high power, then suddenly that consumer population and consumer base would dry up as well. The entire industry could start to implode. So there are dire consequences if this would happen, and who knows what's going to happen, what other kind of hearings might happen, and what kind of backlash there will be. I don't think the firearm community really cares about this. I don't think your people that are on the 2A rights, the NRA, all of those people, I don't think they're on board with protecting less lethal. So I don't think you're going to have that type of legal protection to help you as a community. So I'm here, I'm a messenger. I have no vested interest one way or the other. I am a less lethal user, of course, but if this would pass, it does not affect me personally. But I want to see the community thrive, and I want to see it continue to grow. I'm delivering this message again. This may be the last warning that I give before something actually happens, but I'm just trying to wake people up. You need to be careful about your launchers and what you do with modifying paintball markers versus buying stuff off the shelf that's sold by a company. The companies themselves are even under attack as manufacturers, but the users, I think, are the people that do not have any support. They don't have the resources to protect themselves legally, and you're at extreme risk as a consumer and as a user, and you've invested a lot in this, your time, energy, money. So you need to pay attention to what's going on and voice your opinion and be a consumer that is aware, and don't let this catch you by surprise. So that's what I'm trying to let you know today. Be alert, pay attention to the news, and stay tuned to Scaredy Cat TV because I've got more coming. And everybody just take care, be safe, be legally wise, and we'll see you in the next one.